Hi everyone, Angelina Sparkling Diva is the name of my channel. I thought it would be nice to do a video on why it takes so long to change, well, basically who you are. If you want that, right? If for instance you've noticed that you're reasonably negatively focused on a daily basis, maybe you easily judge yourself or other people, or you're just negative, you just tend to see things, well, nothing's working out, that kind of thing. That everything like that is what I call negative. And if you begin to notice that and you decide you want to become a more positively focused person, more compassionate and loving and light-hearted, and it takes quite some time and a bit of effort as well, to be honest. And why is that? Why is it not like, okay, you do an affirmation every day and boom, there you are. And it just doesn't work that way. The reason for that is normally speaking, people who are negatively focused have been that way for quite some time. And then the brain makes that behavior, that state of being, into a fixed pattern. Like you in a computer, you would solder that in place so it automatically functions via those connections. It's similar in the brain. The brain kind of solders that into place, that pattern, because it gets triggered all the time, right? Every day, all day long, it gets used to be in that mindset, that negative mindset. So it's easier for the brain to just then hardwire it in the brain. So it kind of solders it into place. So you use it, it's normal. And that means if you want to change it, if you want to become different in that way, if you want to become positive, light-hearted, and so on, then you have to create a new pattern in your brain. But the old one is still there, and it's still, in that sense, hindering you to change. Now, the good thing is that there is a limited amount of solder, glue, there is a scientific name for that stuff, to create that pattern, to glue it together, to solder it together. But it doesn't happen overnight. So if you consistently focus on being positive, being compassionate, being kind, being lovable, loving to other people, and so on and so forth, then you keep firing that into the brain, that new thing, and then at some point you have to hold on with that, you have to continue with that. At some point then the brain will want to hardwire that. But then, because there is a limited amount of solder in the brain, the glue, it will have to get that solder to hardwire this new state of being from somewhere else. So it then steals it, nicks it from the old pattern, from the negative pattern, and then these connections, they let go. And then you're getting somewhere. Because then this solder, the glue, is freed up to hardwire the new pattern. But in order for the brain to get there, that takes time. So if you just occasionally have a happy thought, occasionally do an affirmation, that's not enough for the brain to think, okay, this is the dominant state of being now, we have to solder this into place. It's just a one-time thing, and then the negative network will still remain intact. So once or twice, occasionally, having a happy thought, being nice, being compassionate occasionally, is not enough to wire that solidly into the brain. That's why you have to have a really strong intention that you really want to change yourself. You really want to become someone different. And then eventually the brain will think, okay, well, now this is the dominant thing. So we have to wire this and solder this into place. And then it gets the glue from the old pattern. And then Bob is your uncle. Almost. Not quite. Then you're quite a long way. But then it still needs to get... you want to embody it, right? That it truly becomes who you are. And that goes further than having that new network in place. It has to be really, just sink into the brain as the new you, meaning you then embody it. It becomes the new you, who you are. You don't have to think about it anymore. It's just you. You know how to do it. You know how to be that way. You just are that way without knowing how. It's just you. You embody it at that level. And that's the next step, the last step, which is where it gets anchored into the cerebellum at the back of the mind. That's the last step of it. So first you get to creating that new network, which costs time. I just explained that. And after that, you have to still continue with it. And then it gets stored, anchored into the cerebellum, which is located at the back of your brain. And then you empower it. Then it is you. Then you have truly changed yourself. Then you have become this new happy person, and you don't have to think about it. It's just you, really you. So I thought, sometimes these explanations are really quite intricate, and I wanted to relay this. It's not, of course, not my own information. I'm just relaying it, and for me, it's also good to do this, because if you can relay it, if you can tell how it works, it helps to get it to sink into your brain. If you can't do that, then your brain hasn't gotten it yet, really. So for me, this is also good doing this. I hope it's at least helpful for you. I hope it's clear. I'd like to hear that. If you now still feel like, what's this all about? Or maybe you feel like, oh yeah, I get that. I'd love to know that. That helps me. So thank you for watching, and I'll be back again soon. Bye.